wrapped up both packets. Now, you can't mistake this. I mean, it isn't grass. You know what I mean?
It's
not cocaine.
Yeah.
So I send it to them, and I don't hear from them in quite some time. And then I finally get through to them on the phone. Here's what happened. They go to their mailbox one day, or wherever they found this thing, and here was the priority box, opened, empty, with yellow tape around it saying, received in this condition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I try to go to Tampa, where it originated from, because they take it from me here. I never heard anything. They couldn't get any satisfaction out of the Sacramento post office. Who did this? I mean, you know, and they got, I think we spoke very little after them, Barbara, and they went off to college. They may be in law school now. Mm-hmm. But I think it scared them enough that, you know, they kind of, and I take no umbrage with this, that I think they just distanced themselves from me and the whole thing.
Well, Keith, you've made an excellent point here, because one of the things that is done in order to isolate a target and discredit a target, in this case you, is they use intimidation tactics on anybody and everybody that's in any way connected to you, so that they either tell a lie about, oh, Keith is a terrorist, you know, or Barbara Hartwell is a terrorist, or, oh, did you know that she's under investigation? This person is under investigation. We're investigating. They'll tell your neighbors, oh, the FBI is investigating this person. We'd appreciate your cooperation. It's all that kind of stuff. And, you know, unfortunately, people do get intimidated, because how are they to know? You know, you take somebody that's a neighbor living across the street, you know, and how are they going to know that this whole thing is bogus, that it's a campaign of persecution against a target? They have no way to know that. And so in many cases, even if they don't end up cooperating, you know, by divulging private information that they may have, at the very least they often say, oh my God, I don't want anything to do with that person. That person's under investigation by the FBI.
Well, you know, and as I said, if I were in their shoes, I probably would have done the same thing. The episode was so spooky that I think that we all decided just to drop the situation. And the thing was, where do you go? I mean, they went down to Sacramento, and they said, well, you have to file these forms. I mean, who did this? And to think of that somebody, if it was done in the post office, got away scot-free.
Because well, Keith, here's something to consider, okay? Is they have infiltrators everywhere. The post office is a major hotbed of this kind of activity. I'm not saying every post office, because where I live, it's a little tiny town, you know, and I know the people, you know, that work in the post office. So they're very nice people, and they're my neighbors, you know. So that kind of stuff hasn't happened to me since I've been here, you know, but it certainly has happened in the past. And also, another thing that people might be interested in knowing about is that if you look at the Chamber of Commerce in any town, okay, in any town at all, from the smallest little town to a large city, anything, the Chamber of Commerce, they have infiltrators in the Chamber of Commerce, and that includes any place in the United States of America. And we're talking about CIA, FBI, NSA, any alphabet agency you could name. And these people are in there because when someone's been targeted, they put a flag, you know, they put a flag on your name, and then these terrible things, which actually some of them range from the ludicrous on one end to the life-threatening on the other, they start happening to you because you've been targeted. So this is a complex operation that they're running, Keith. I mean, they have, you know, they have the resources, they have money, black budget funds to do these things, and when they have a contacts through like the Chamber of Commerce and the police department often as well, they have access to anything that they want to get, from private information about a person's life, which should remain private, terrible invasions of privacy, down to fabricating dossiers, such as the person is under investigation by the FBI, and they can pretty much destroy your life. I know because it's happened to me, and there really isn't any recourse except for to expose them, Keith, and that is why I do what I do. I expose them on my website. If I have a name, you better believe I'm going to expose the names. I'm not going to do it on the radio shows. That's not my policy usually. But it is on my website. If you want the name of some of these criminals and some of these phony, baloney, quote, journalists in the alternative media and shills, they have criminal conspiracies that they're running, and they are headed up by former or current government operatives.
One of the most unsettling episodes from living down here in what had used to be a very rural section of Florida. So you were still with people that were generationally landed here in Florida. So although Florida has gotten very northeastern to a certain extent in certain cities for obvious reasons, this was still kind of the South. And, we've all kind of like watched movies, and they might have been based on fact, some of them fiction, about southern, like, backwater towns like Macon County line,
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and I mean, after living in New York, I know stuff that went on, but it seemed that less of it went on. But down here, it's very clear, like you had said, that there are people, there are businessmen, there are lawyers who are involved in these associations and have some very dirty hands.
Well, you know what it is, Keith? I mean, there are people from all walks of life. And part of this whole operation, and I say operation, but it's a number of operations, obviously, a part of this is their mantra, which is plausible deniability. The actual doers of the deeds, the dirty deeds, could be anybody, and yet they're separated. They're separated out so that it can't really be pinned on the people who are ordering these crimes to take place. I mean, that's just a typical, operational strategy, and they're getting away with it. I mean, I want to get back to this show that I heard of Eleanor White and Sue Ann Campbell. Even though I've been targeted for things like this and known many cases and investigated many cases over a period of many years, decades, it didn't fail to touch me. It horrified me just hearing somebody else go through this and tell about all the terrible things that are happening. I mean, it's an epidemic.
Yeah, and I think what I found also very unsettling was that, and this is why I'm thinking about also that family in Sacramento and even in Eleanor's situation, that there were a bunch of unemployed post-high school redneck white males that actually were on the payroll of some of these white-collar types to,
Of course.
Anything from break a leg or bust somebody up.
They hire thugs,
Yep.
They hire hooligans and thugs, and, these are the people that are going to take the rap if they get caught,
Yeah, but they don't know that a lot of the times.
No. Well, they're stupid,
That's why they're working for them.
Yeah, they're not only stupid, but they're evil, but yeah, I mean, this is, I can't stress this enough, Keith, that this goes on, because I can remember way back when I first got out of all this CIA stuff, and I was out in '94, and I started to go public about this stuff in late 1995. That was the first time I had published anything on the Internet. They were on other people's websites at that time, so I didn't have a site. But and what I talked about, what I focused on,